incentives. That's the first thing. And second thing, the way of innovators, and stop tying people as much in red tape. This is an area where a lot of us in this room have spent a tremendous amount of time. We have a current Deputy Minister of OMAFRA in the room, so thank you, John and Deb, again, for coming out. We've spent so much time. Tom Rosser, Assistant Deputy Minister in Ag Canada, who's been instrumental in so many files that we've worked on together, so thank you also to you, Tom, for coming along. And really what we need to do is we need to be working better together across the silos. An area that Arrell Food Institute has spent a lot of energy on in terms of policy is the topic of school nutrition. As most people, I hope in this room know, Canada is the only rich, so-called developed, so-called country to not have a national school nutrition program. This is an area that the large number of us at the Ag Canada and the Food Policy Advisory Council have been working on. And I need to say a huge thank you to Laura Arrell and the Arrell Family Foundation, not only for supporting events like today and the work of the Arrell Family Foundation, but Laura in particular, the leadership position you're taking and the Family Foundation is taking on the issue of school nutrition and the announcement a couple of weeks ago at the provincial level of new funds moving into the school nutrition program. So this is an area of vital importance, and Jess Haynes and Amberly Rotz, amongst others, have put a bunch of material on our website on this important topic. So, something about dialogue, something about research, something about incentives, something about policy, and something about training. If we want to find a pathway to change, to develop a more sustainable food system, we need to be investing more in the next generation. And goodness, it's a challenging moment for the next generation. I mean, from just a food system leadership perspective, the next generation has to be disciplinarily excellent. We need great sociologists and economists and food scientists and engineers. So Evan and Twala, it's great that you were able to introduce us. On this slide, we see a trip led by Gina Rex to a local grain facility. This was just a couple of weeks ago as part of some of the educational work that we do. Because not only do we need students that are disciplinary excellent, they've also got to be entrepreneurial minded. They also have to be systems thinkers. They also have to have an ability to work in teams and pivot. It is a bewildering training environment that we're sending young people into. But the next generation is, of course, the people that are going to wear the mistakes that we make today. So we have to be doing it. So those are the 5 things that I think need to happen if we want to embark on a pathway to change, to seize the innovations, and make sure the innovations are applied in the way that we need them. We need something about dialogue, centering local solutions. We need research to give us new ways of solving old problems. We need to create incentives to monitor and manage behavior. We need to be working on policy to align these things, and we need the next generation to be are not as stable as they once perhaps were. We need to be thinking very critically, not about the problem so much as the solution. So where I'd like to wrap up is with a nod to the past. And I'd like to, I think my Uncle Dave is on the call right now, so hi Uncle Dave. My Uncle Dave got me the photograph on the left here. That is my, I'm going to try to get this right, great-great-great-great-grandfather, Thomas Appleyard. I think I've got that right. The woman on the right is Adelaide Hoodless. They both led interesting lives in Ontario in the 1800s. I'll start with my grandfather's grandfather. I think I've got that right. He ran a sawmill, or was a farmer and ran a sawmill not far from Guelph, Ontario. Unfortunately, Thomas came to a tragic end. Industrial accident. He was thrown into a spinning saw blade, lost both his legs, and died a few seconds later on the floor of the sawmill. Tragic end. Adelaide Hoodless grew up in Hamilton, Ontario. Lost a child to bovine tuberculosis at a young age, probably from drinking tainted milk. Thomas's story ends on the sawmill floor. Adelaide's story continues. Adelaide goes on to devote her life to food safety. She goes on to found the Macdonald Institute, which is one of the 3 founding colleges of the University of Guelph, that I think, Anne, you are essentially a graduate of that many years later, if I'm not mistaken. My point in putting Thomas and Adelaide up here is to remind us that past innovators found and confronted what must have felt like insurmountable problems. Much like we today feel like we're confronting insurmountable problems. Past innovators did, and I don't want to take anything for granted. I want to very sincerely acknowledge the tremendous work that still needs to be done. that Thomas Appleyard and Adelaide Hoodless is that progress is possible at all. The second thing I have to do, and the very last thing I have to do, is introduce our first proper session. One of the great professional joys of my world in the last 6 years, I've worked together on, I think it's 5 shows over the past 5 or 6 years. I was so excited when Nicola keeps answering my emails and showed an interest in today's session. So what our first session is going to be is 4 outstanding speakers bringing different perspectives on pathways. I'm so looking forward to hearing Paul and Patrick and Ingbal and Jen, there we go, talk to us about their perspectives. And I'm so grateful that the session will be moderated by Nala Ed, one of Canada's leading journalists, the host of CBC Ideas. And if things go well and the various checks and balances and scheduling is allowed, this hour may at some point end up on CBC Ideas agenda at some point. So that, can I pass the floor over to you and say thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Evan. Can you hear me okay here? Can you hear me all right? Great, thank you very much. Let us know if you don't. Good morning. It's a real honor to be here, Evan. Thank you for inviting us to be part of this really important discussion about something that affects every single one of us. It's wonderful also to be with some of the leading minds in this area. And so we know, of course,